blah, 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 blah.
Welcome to the Our Forever Smiles podcast, a podcast created to support mothers of children who were born with clefts and those who love them. I'm your host, Laura Arroyo, and I'm also a mother of a daughter who was born with a surprise cleft palate. I know the challenges you face every day. Whether you have just learned the difficult news of your baby's cleft lip or palate, you're in the midst of pre-op or post-op, or you're an OG cleft mom, this podcast is for you. In a weekly conversation, we will talk about everything from feeding and speech therapy to surgery and school. We'll share tips from guest experts and advocates and even share a little joy in the process. You can listen to Our Forever Smiles wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the Our Forever Smiles Cleft Mom Diaries and Support podcast. I am Laura Arroyo. Before we jump into this episode, I would like to invite you to join this community to hear conversations with other cleft moms and advocates that will help you feel supported along your journey. All you have to do is click the follow or subscribe button. I love your support, so it's just incredible to just see us all come together. And we're just getting started here, so I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Thank you so much for subscribing. As a note, we are not medical doctors, and we do not intend for you to use the information that we share here as medical advice. We are parents and advocates who love our children, and we're just sharing our own personal experiences. This week, I've decided to focus on an episode that will help mothers who are looking for a quick answer to frequently asked questions. So this is a list that is not exhaustive by any means. It will not answer every single question that you have. In fact, we will probably have an FAQs 102. This will be like the FAQs 101. But it just touches on a wide variety of questions that come up. These questions are in no particular order. And this episode is also recommended for your extended family to get a better understanding of your baby's cleft. So please feel free to share the episode with your partner, your husband, your aunts, cousins, uncles, whoever has any questions about anything, grandparents, all of those folks. So let's jump right in. Question 1. How do I prepare for surgery? What supplies do I need for myself, my husband, and my baby? So every hospital is different, but generally the hospital will provide you with the following items. They usually have diapers, wipes, syringes, baby blankets, Pedialyte, like pudding, pain medicine. Mom and dad should bring dark shirts, snacks or like gum, breast pump if you're pumping, comfortable clothes, shoes, toothpaste, and a toothbrush. The baby should have extra onesies, a free flow cup, a lovey or a blanket, a hairbrush and hair ties, and a bottle. One of the things that just note here for your baby, just make sure that you don't have any clothing for them that requires to be pulled over their head. You want to get like the pajamas, like the zip up pajamas that allow you to just put them through, that allows you to not have to put them over their head. The ones that just zip up from the feet. Question number 2. How can I improve scarring after lip repair? Every surgeon recommends different methods and creams, but we actually have an episode, our episode with Alexis Garcia. She did a great job of sharing some of the creams that she's used. She's got them right from Amazon, so stay tuned for that episode. But a few methods that of course, I've heard throughout my journey is a scar massage. You can apply vitamin E, apply sunscreen, apply scar gel, coconut oil, or aquaphor. So those are all methods that people have shared. Question number 3. What questions should I ask my Cleft team before choosing to work with them? Now, it is good to research different programs, but the list of questions that I am going to give you here is not a comprehensive list of questions. These are just general questions that you may want to ask your team. Of course, ask any question that you can think of or that comes up, ask it. So the first question, is there an onboarding process or a program? Where will I give birth to my baby, if applicable? How do you manage to transfer knowledge between nurses and nurse shifts? My baby have a NAM or taping. What are they doing before birth? So what is your Cleft team's plans before birth? Are there any appointments that you need to go to, anything that you need to prepare for before the baby is born? Like, how can you be the best prepared for your baby's arrival? Are you able to meet with the team? What kind of testing are they doing beforehand or after? Are they doing an EKG? Are they doing an MRI? Are they going to do genetics? Can you meet the surgeon? Does the Cleft team have weekly meetings? How does the hospital report information to each other if the baby is born in a different location than the Cleft team? How soon after birth does your team see you? Are you getting set up with a bottle kit beforehand? Like, are you going to be able to see the different bottles? That is Pigeon, Haberman, and Dr. Brown's are the main systems. Who do you call in the middle of the night for guidance? Who does the Cleft team consist of? How will you manage pain post-surgery? What supplies does the hospital provide during surgery? Those are just a few, but you may have more, and you may have additional questions that expand upon these questions that I've already shared here. Question number 4. What organizations should I donate to support awareness? The 4 organizations that I can think of are the Ronald McDonald House, Smile Train, Operation Smile, the American Cleft Palate and Craniofacial Association, and then also, just for advocacy and to support awareness, please support the ELSA bill. If you do not know about the ELSA bill, please look that bill up and just do whatever you can. Write your state senate to make sure that we can make that bill come to life. If you are wanting to advocate in a different way or show your support for Cleft associations, for Cleft rights, then you want to support the ELSA bill. So please make sure you look that up, look into it, and do whatever you can to get that passed. Question number 5. How do you deal with guilt and fear? So this one is such a tough one to answer, but basically, you just have to remember that the lips of a baby, they form between the 4th and 7th weeks of pregnancy. And as the baby develops during pregnancy, the body tissue and special cells from each side of the head grow toward the center of the face, and then they join together to form that face. A cleft lip happens when that tissue doesn't make up the lip. It doesn't join completely before birth. And the palate is formed between the 6th and 9th week of pregnancy. A cleft palate happens almost the same way. It's like when the tissue doesn't make the roof of the mouth, and it never gets joined together completely during pregnancy. With that being said, you probably found out you were pregnant around the 4 to 7 week mark. some of you even later. And according to science, you probably didn't even know you were pregnant before the cleft was formed. This should provide you with a little bit of reassurance that this was completely out of your control. And understanding and coming to terms with that can be difficult. The way that we deal with guilt is just reminding ourselves that it's not our fault. You could not have done anything different. And just coming to terms with things being beyond our control. Dealing with the fear is normal. You have a child that will eventually have to have surgery. And the way that you can deal with fear is to speak with your Cleft team about your fears and ask those questions. You want to make sure that you build a good rapport with the specialist that you will be seeing. Connect with everyone that is going to be seeing your child throughout the Cleft journey. And check out real life cases, whether that means listening to stories on this podcast or joining a support group. Building a good relationship with your Cleft team allows you to have the confidence to ask necessary questions that eliminate fear. All of our journeys are different, but seeing and listening to other mothers and children lets you see what's possible. Another one of our episodes with Dr. Olguin, she explained how helpful it is for mothers to see other children and other mothers in the offices with them so that you can see real life cases and it can provide you a little bit of reassurance and maybe lessen those fears that you might be having. So, question number 6. If my insurance denies my claim, what are the steps I should take to appeal? So, if you're in the United States and your insurance company denies your child's cleft care or surgery, here are the steps that you should take. If you received a bill or an EOB, which is an explanation of benefits, call the doctor's office to see if they are already working on an appeal. If they are not working on an appeal, call the insurance company to get the reason for the denial. Once you have the reason, contact your doctor's office so they can provide any additional information that the insurance company needs to provide to get you covered. You may have to do a little bit of coordination between the two offices, but cleft care and surgery is not cosmetic, and you should be covered by insurance. I also want to plug again the ELSA bill because it has to do with insurance and insurance denial for adult cleft care and cleft care that is beyond what I guess insurance companies deem as actual cleft care, and they're categorizing it as cosmetic. Also, again, you want to go ahead and look into the ELSA bill to ensure that people that are along the cleft journey can ultimately get the care that they need. Question number 7. How long did you keep the no-nos or the cozy coo on post-op? So every surgeon has different recommendations, but generally no-nos and cozy coos are recommended to use for 2 to 6 weeks after surgery. Your child will have a follow-up appointment within a few weeks after your appointment, at which your surgeon will tell you if you need to continue the no-nos or a cozy coo. Now, again, every surgeon has different recommendations, and your surgeon may tell you something different. But this guideline is basically what I have seen and what I have heard through my research and through speaking with other moms. That's a general consensus. Question number 8. Does my child have to get ear tubes? If your child was born with a cleft palate, your child will likely have to have ear tubes placed during their palate repair to drain fluid buildup from their eustachian tubes. Eustachian tubes connect the middle ears to the back of their nose and throat. It is not likely for ear tubes to be placed before palate repair because many surgeons prefer to reduce the amount of times that they place children under anesthesia. In rare cases, they have been placed before surgery. If your child was born with a cleft lip only, it is not likely that they will have to have ear tubes placed. Question number 9. How many surgeries did your child have to have? The amount of surgeries your child will have to have really depends on your child's diagnosis. If your child is lip affected, you can expect to have a lip repair. If your child is palate affected, you can expect to have a palate repair. If your child is both lip and palate affected, you can expect to have a lip and palate repair. You may also consider a nose revision around the ages of 4 and 5 years old. If your child's hard palate is affected, your child will likely have to have a bone graft. You may elect to have revisions in between these surgeries depending on how your child's cleft responds to the surgery. These revisions can involve lip corrections and fistula repairs. For a quick reference, if your child is lip and palate affected, you can expect to have a minimum of 4 surgeries. Question number 10. Do all babies who are born with a cleft have to spend time in the NICU? Children who are born with a cleft lip and or palate and are healthy are not required to spend time in the NICU. Children who are born with a cleft lip and or palate often have to go to the NICU because of feeding issues. They may need an IV or a feeding tube. The way to avoid the NICU include asking your Cleft team what the protocol is when your child is born. Be clear about your goals. Do you want the extra care or are you trying to avoid the extra care? Educate yourself on feeding systems before your baby is born. Have every option ready to try. Some of the options include Dr. Brown's, Pigeon, or Haberman. Ask your Cleft team what their feeding goals are. What is the threshold before they begin to consider a feeding tube? So these are the ways that you can avoid the NICU. Of course, some Cleft teams are different and they may state that your child has to go to the NICU. If I were in your shoes, I would fight that, but that just may be your Cleft team's protocol, just because they may want the extra monitoring, but it's just best to be prepared for any situation. But just because they were born with a cleft lip or palate does not automatically mean that they need to spend time in the NICU, as long as they're healthy otherwise. Question number 11. How long did you have to stay in the hospital post-op? If your child's lip or palate surgery is successful, you will likely stay in the hospital overnight or until you can get their pain or feeding under control. It usually takes about 24 hours for your child to start feeding comfortably again. Question 12. Should I use the NAM or tape? Did it make a difference? Did your baby like it? So some families use tape to begin their repair journey and then they move to a NAM as the lip gets closer. It's totally up to your family's capacity and flexibility and your child's cleft type that will determine if the NAM or tape is necessary. Based on what we have learned, the NAM is a difficult process for families because of the weekly visits and adjustments. However, research shows that the use of the NAM has improved the surgery process, scarring, and need for future surgery. You can listen to our episode with Dr. Lizbeth Olguin, Alexis Garcia, and Jennifer Vinslet to hear real-life cases and results of the NAM application. Question 13. Can I breastfeed if my baby has a cleft lip or palate? If your baby is lip affected only, you have a chance of being able to breastfeed. This will require diligence, dedication, and support. If you are not successful, this is totally normal, and at this point, it is best to pump your breast milk or switch to formula, as it is best to get your baby properly fed. If your baby is palate affected, this means that your baby cannot form suction, which means your baby will not be able to breastfeed. You can pump breast milk or use baby formula. Now, I've heard of special cases, but the only thing that I will say, which may be an unpopular opinion, is that I do not encourage anyone to allow their baby to go hungry for their own personal goals. Now, that is just my opinion. I know people may push back on that, but I stand by that. Question 14. Is it normal for my child to fail the newborn hearing test? It is not normal for a cleft-affected child to fail a newborn hearing test, but it is common. Children who are born with cleft palates usually have some fluid buildup, which can impact their hearing. Continue to get your child tested and monitor ear infections to ensure their hearing needs are addressed. If your baby fails their newborn hearing test, your specialist will give you next steps to address your baby's needs or get them proper care as needed. Question 15. Do I have to wean my baby off of their bottle before palate repair? It is not uncommon for your surgeon to ask you to wean your child off the bottle before palate repair. Depending on how your baby responds to surgery, your surgeon will not want them to put anything in their mouth to avoid infection. Your child may also refuse to eat from their bottle, so you want to be prepared to use other options to feed them. It is also not uncommon for your surgeon to clear you to use your child's specialty bottle with the disc after they told you to have them weaned. I think they just want you to be prepared for the worst case scenario. In my case, we were told that we needed to have my daughter off of the bottle. After her surgery, her surgeon stated that she could have the bottle, have her own bottle for feeding. So I think she just wanted us to be prepared. And also it depended on how my daughter responded to the surgery. Question 16. What is the surgery schedule? Every surgeon is different. Lip repair is usually done between 2 to 5 months. Palate repair is done around 10 months. Nose revision can be done around 4 to 5 years old. The bone graft is done between 7 and 10 years old. And revisions can be done at 12 to 15 years old and then at 15 and 20 years old as well. Of course, this varies between surgeon, case, but this is just the general information and consensus that most people follow as a schedule. Question 17. What sippy or free flow cup should I buy to prepare for surgery? So choosing a sippy cup can be hard as they're all different and your child may take to one cup easier than another cup. But I'll give you 5 sippy cups that Cleft moms have recommended time and time again. This is not to say that these will work for your child, but it is worth a try. The Nook Spoutless and also the Everlast sippy cup is popular. The Munchkin Gentle Transition, the OXO Tot Transition, the Soft Spout sippy cup, the Tommy Tippy Non-Spill sippy cup, and then I'll give you 2 honorable mentions. The Munchkin 360, highly recommended, but parents, they hate it due to the mess, I guess it's messy. And then the Honey Bear Straw Cup. This is one that you can squeeze and it will allow the liquid to be pumped into your child's mouth. Since this is before surgery, of course, and if your child is palate affected, they will not be able to suck from the straw. You would have to squeeze it for them. Question 18. Which specialty feeder should I use? So you should try all specialty feeders. That includes Dr. Brown's, Haberman, and Pigeon. Dr. Brown's is a really popular feeder that is recommended, but that does not mean that this bottle will work for all children. Try all of them until you find the one that your baby loves. So if you are someone who is awaiting a child that will be cleft affected, get all of them. If you are a mother who has already had your child and maybe your baby is not responding to a specific specialty feeder, switch. You will not regret it because they do adjust well and they will find the feeder that works best for them. Question 19. I'm concerned about having shallow feelings about the way my baby will look. Did anyone else feel this way? So this is a completely normal feeling. As a mother, we all hope to give our children the best outcomes in this world. That can mean that you want them to be attractive, intelligent, charismatic, influential. It is completely normal to feel like you will not have this opportunity or that your child will be judged, not given a fair shot based on their appearance. I want to validate those feelings here, but I also want to say that those shallow feelings that you might have will melt away as soon as you are able to hold and start caring for your baby. And then a day will come where you will grieve seeing that wide, beautiful smile. Trust me, I've heard it time and time again from so many mothers across the globe who have shared that feeling with me, that they were so afraid of the way that their child will look. And then the day of their surgery, they felt so emotional about just grieving their child's wide, beautiful smile. Yeah. Normal feelings, though. All of those feelings are valid and they are normal. Question 20. Did you find out about your baby's palate before they were born? Doctors cannot tell if a baby is cleft palate affected from an ultrasound. The doctor can speculate based on what they see on an ultrasound, but you will not know for sure until your baby is born. If your baby is cleft palate affected only, it is likely you would not or did not find out until they were born. So I've also heard that there is different technology like MRIs or different things, and they may be 90% effective or whatever they have shared, but at the end of the day, your doctor will tell you, we are almost certain, or there's still a possibility, or because nothing is certain with the palate. They cannot tell for sure. Yes. Yeah. It's hard to find out about if your baby will be palate affected before they are born. So that is the end of our questions here. I hope these questions address the basics that you might be thinking about as you approach your cleft care journey. I know this episode might trigger additional questions, so I want to be able to address them in a future episode. So if you have additional questions, please feel free to email us at ourforeversmiles@gmail.com, and I will address your question in those future episodes. You can also join our Facebook community to ask questions there. I'll be happy to jump in there to answer any questions and provide any information that I have. The Facebook group is called Our Forever Smiles Cleft Community. And so there we will chat about episodes that are released. You can speak with the guests that are featured on the episodes directly. And we're just really excited about launching that as well and just continuing to create community around the podcast. So this is a wonderful opportunity to get connected. So thank you for listening to the Our Forever Smiles, Cleft Mom Diaries and Support podcast. Be sure to subscribe and submit a review of the podcast wherever you listen. I just hope that you've enjoyed this audio experience. Maybe you cried a little, laughed a little, but more importantly, I hope that you feel a little piece of reassurance and even joy in your journey. Talk to you next week.